Alright, so here we are. Sky Chase Zone Act 1.
Hi, Knuckles. What?
Bye, Knuckles.
Oh,
The cool thing about this transition here is that you have to play Sonic's transition to know where the boss comes from in Knuckles' level. Because that caterpillar that just fell out of his hat, that's Knuckles' version of the boss.
I will say, guys, this is one of my favorite original zones in the game Mirage Saloon, or as Ted calls it, Panda and Fanbase Zone.
Okay, so here's the thing. I actually, if it weren't for the Sky Chase part at the beginning, because I never liked Sky Chase, I would actually agree with you that Mirage Saloon's the best zone in the game.
Knuckles Act 1 is great.
Okay.
Like, if the whole zone was just the Knuckles portion. Also, I will say, one thing that I hope is coming in a patch, which I know we mentioned earlier, I think Taxman on Twitter and now said there is something coming, so hopefully at one point. But on my first try, don't spin dash or drop dash on this, because you will fucking die, which again wasn't a problem in episode 2. Sonic 4, best game ever made.
On the other hand, the one in Sonic 4 Episode 2 went on for too goddamn long.
But you could spin dash all you want, Lewis, and you would even in Sonic 2, unless you were right at the edge of the corner and you tried to spin dash, you would not fall off. But I fell off multiple times. Trying just to gain up speed on
the other thing worth mentioning about this version of Sky Chase Zone.
Hold on, can we go back to Ted's original point, because we kind of cut him off and he never got.
Well, it'll be the.
We'll do that for Act 2.
Well, no, the boss. I got some flack for saying some stuff about the boss on Twitter, and I'll try to explain it when it's more relevant. But no, this is a fun stage. But if the stage was just the train that's coming up here, like a really, really long train and no Sky Chase, then I think I would love it even more, because, look at this thing. This thing's goddamn ridiculous.
Eggman's got his little hat on. That's adorable.
It's it's awkward to say that, though, because as John pointed out in his review, Bubsy did that.
Also, easiest special ring in the game.
Oh, no, here's a funny thing, though. Going into that special ring kind of resets some parts of the stage, so in the second Sky Chase part, Knuckles will be back on the plane, and I knew that,
and he just crashes with the plane and doesn't do anything.
Yeah, but since I got that special ring on my first try, because there was obviously something to the left, I thought that Knuckles was just back.
That's amazing.
It happened. It did happen to be maybe a Switch thing.
No, I think it's on. I think it's on everything, as far as I can tell.
Because I definitely went into that special stage, but it didn't happen for me.
Did you die or something?
No.
Okay. Yeah. See, Knuckles will be back here if you go back on the.
I love I love the little foreshadowing in the on the train there with the tankers.
Guys, two things about the train. I love the fact that Tails has his hat and goggles from the OVA. Great reference. I also like the fact that they put an animation for when you go up or down, the plane tilts.
When you're playing as Tails, Sonic has his own goggles.
Which is a reference to Debug Sonic 1, where he would have had goggles while underwater.
This boss is annoying, because I feel like I can jump into him and I won't hit.
This boss is the worst boss. This boss shit.
This is not a good boss.
When he's doing the in and out from the background and foreground, you have to jump earlier than you think you do.
Yeah, this boss is probably my least favorite.
Yeah, but the problem is that they're trying to recreate it like the old Genesis Vector Man 3D effect, which doesn't mean shit when you can't hit it because its hitbox is very...
Yeah, like there, Sonic didn't even touch him when you hit him there.
Yeah, you know, when Vector Man itself actually wanted to have a boss that was big on 3D effects, it would usually shift into a top-down perspective to accommodate that. So, yeah.
So what you're saying is Vector Man is a better game than Sonic Mania, I agree.
No. Final Smash!
Now I'll show you!
We're done.
You really showed me.
Oh, man, dude, you had to use Supersonic to beat that boss? How lame.
Actually, this is the worst boss in the game to use Supersonic in, because you're not going to beat it any faster.
Plane, yeah.
It's easy to fall off the plane, and you're not going to beat it any faster.
Is no one going to comment on the fact that that signpost is following us and floating? I'm very nervous by that.
Oh, thank God.
Time for fanboy fangasms.
Oh, wait, no, you had... Oh, when I played the game, it was Fang.
It can be Fang, Bean, or Bark.
You mean Knack? Thank you very much.
Okay, well,
No,
okay, so I got some flack on Twitter for saying that I rolled my eyes at that boss, and I think the thing that bothered me was that wouldn't have bothered me if this game was all original stages and they brought back some Game Gear characters. I don't think I would have cared, because you know, it's on. The thing about it is that this game brings back so much old stuff already. And I was very cynical about it in the lead up, and I still am very cynical about it because I don't feel like the game needed. Oh, damn it, dude!
Right,
The music
what are you doing?
in
This is the best track in the game!
Lewis,
fuck!
Get out of Supersonic now.
No.
Damn
No.
it.
At this point, I'm doing it just to see how angry you get.
Okay, but
He
anyway.
didn't record in 60 frames. He's going over Master Loon. Johnny, ban this man from your channel.
Lewis hates fun.
Anyway, Ted, about your dislike of Team Hooligan.
Yeah, it's, you see, if like this game were all original zones, which is what I really wanted from the beginning, then it wouldn't bother me as much because it would be the kind of callback that comes in a new game, if that makes sense. The thing is that they clearly put so much effort into making these original zones, and to be fair, the remake zones have a lot of effort put into them, and I know that if they had their choice, it would have been all original zones, but that doesn't really matter when at the end of the day I'm playing rehashes. The thing is that you see all the work that they put into these rehash zones, and you know that they redraw every single sprite, so like it would have taken about as much work. Maybe not about as much work, but even if it would take more work to make all new zones, I would have rather had a game with 8 new zones than 4 new zones and 8 rehash zones. The thing.
I mean, Ted, I get that. My point of contention is when you called it pandering. I'm like, these are characters that, for one, aside from Knack being in an 8-bit game, these characters have never been in a platform.
A proper Sonic game, yeah.
Exactly, because I mean, like being and Bark are in. Aside from
Sonic the Fighters, and
Sonic the Fighters, which is not many people played, so I would not call this pandering really. I think like I would say something like the Death Egg robot. You could say that's pandering because that's been used so often. These guys haven't, so I don't.
The whole game. Well, to be fair, I think the whole game is kind of pandering. But it is. It felt like, oh, we're going to bring back these obscure characters that nobody really knows because it'll make people freak out. And that I kind of saw exactly why they chose these things. You know, and it rubbed me the wrong way when I saw them because like, oh, of course they're going to bring back
I can understand, Ted, but it's not pandering.
My point of contention there is that the concept of pandering, or rather the concept of criticizing pandering for the sake of being pandering, pisses me the fuck off because it means basically nothing the amount of times people say it. So if you're going to say it, you really got to explain yourself so that you're not lumped in with the people who are just using the word as a buzzword.
Well,
you know,
buzzword or not, it rubbed me the wrong way when I saw them. It's just like, okay, they're clearly aiming this game for a very
I'll
specific
actually
audience.
somewhat agree with you there, but not because of the characters and the intention of bringing them there. What I really not such a fan of is that as I played that boss fight and the effect of seeing those characters again wore off, I realized the boss fight itself is not all that interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Ted, I mean, like the concept of them being there, I wouldn't say pandering, but kind of like with Lewis, I think the fact that A, it's piss easy, and 2, you're not really fighting them. Kind of, no, I want to say diminishes it because I still think it's nice to see these characters in an official game for the first time in like 20 years, but it's not as cool as it would have been if you were actually fighting #Team Hooligans, copyright Ian Flynn, and if the boss fight was actually hard, which I think is a problem with most of the bosses in this game, except for, ironically, the Act 2 boss of this zone, which I've seen a lot of people complain about online.
Well, if we're going to be shamelessly bringing back old characters that haven't been around in a while, when are we going to get DLC palette swaps of Sonic and Tails as Mighty and Ray?
Ha. Although I would say, Ted, I mean, like, I'm not sure if you recall this point, Parangin, but a nice little touch I love is that the noise you hear when you attack the hardboiled heavy as one of the hooligans is the same sound you get when you attack Knuckles in 3K. So
Okay.
like the use of that sound effect, you could maybe call audio pandering, but
well, no,
it's
you
good.
see the small details that like, here's the thing, it's something that is very clearly like, if you, okay, I'm sorry, it's hard to explain why it bothers me so much because it's very gut instinct. But it's more like,
you
okay,
hate FUD.
it's like
You have
these
no
characters are characters that nobody, like, they're from fucking Sonic the Fighters. Like, nobody played that. And
Knack the Weasel is it? Knack the Weasel is from Sonic Triple Trouble.
New idea then. TMT next year. FTCR BrainScratch Tournament of Sonic the Fighters.
Sure,
We almost did that this year, but Mikono's fan forgot a part to his Wii U, so we couldn't hook it up.
So anyway, I'm going to accept that I can't explain why it bothers me that much. It's just, I saw them and it made me go like, ugh, and I'm having a hard time putting that into words.
Ted just hates Team Hooligan, got it.
Sure, whatever.
I know, I'm just giving him a bit of
Ted,
a hard
again,
time
I'm
'cause
saying
they're obscure characters.
your dislike is fine. I just think your use of the word pandering is incorrect.
Oh yeah, this is the boss that we mentioned that's so piss
The
easy.
easiest boss in the game.
It's the easiest boss in the game, but it does have a bit of a dick move. If you
You can
don't
get crushed when
happen,
they
He only takes
Yeah.
4 hits. Like, I mean, come on.
its main attack is that the platforms will shoot up into the ceiling, and if you don't know to stand in the middle when that happens, you'll get crushed by the spikes. Like, it's not even just you'll lose your rings hit, you'll get crushed by the spikes. So it's a bit cheap in that regard.
But if you give it the chance,
Okay, so
the
Speaking of cheap, who the fuck thought bringing back the Sandopolis Act 2 gimmick would be a good idea?
you see, now what I want to know is why they thought to bring back Oil Ocean in the first place, because I don't really like this. I didn't like this zone very much in Sonic 2.
Because
either.
Ted, because this is TJ's favorite level, and unlike you,
What?
TJ has a soul.
Wait, this is TJ's favorite level? What?
I don't ask the boy himself. I don't understand him all the time. He just loves this level for some reason.
You see, if this game wanted to get on my good side, it would have brought back Mystic Cave, which is an actually good.
Ted, I very rarely say this, but high five, my man.
Yeah, because
Mr. K would have been fucking good.
Because, like, can you imagine what a Mania remix of Mystic Cave would sound like? It'd
Man,
be
I
phenomenal.
kept wishing for that while I was playing these levels, damn it. I was like, is Mr. Cave gonna show up? Is Mr. Cave gonna show up? No.
You know what? I'm not sure. Maybe, you know, I'm gonna assume I might speak for all of us when I say I'm glad Casino Night was not chosen. Because
Yeah.
kind of like Green Hill, I don't want to see a fucking casino level in a Sonic game for about 10 years now. I'm kind of really bored of that.
I'm also
trope.
glad. No, I am glad that they brought this zone back for one reason. We now made Sonic's animation canon.
yes,
Wait, what?
we're setting the oil on fire. I don't see. I would have liked it if the entire plant ruptured, though.
Ryan, dude, what do you mean? What do you mean by you made Sonic's animation canon? What do you mean?
Yeah,
by
I
that?
don't get that either.
John,
animation.
in the Sonic 2 review ages and ages and ages ago for John, he made
Oh,
an animated joke where Sonic throws a match into Oil Ocean and it just explodes.
Oh,
into the easy
gotcha.
Planet Explorer. So that's why John's credited in the manual.
I don't have a problem with Oil Ocean Act 2 myself, because, well, first of all, my problem with Sandopolis Act 2 was never that the light gimmick was there. The light gimmick was the least of that zone's problems. It was just too goddamn long, and the block pushing really wasted your time a lot.
Most stages the block pushing, yes, but most stages in Sonic Mania are about as long as Sandopolis, though.
Yeah.
But you're
But
doing
it's
a
more
lot more
fun.
fun stuff in them.
The thing about the thing about that in this case, though, is that almost all of the levels in Sonic Mania keep a pretty brisk pace with their speed platforming balance.
I would
Sandopolis
argue,
Act
aside from the
2
last level, yeah.
Sandopolis Act 2 was kind of Sonic 3 and Knuckles' speed bump, where it lost some of that balance and became more of a marble zone with a light gimmick.
It was also a visual bore.
Yeah, that too. I'm a little more. I find this oil refinery on fire visual gimmick a lot more interesting.
Because everything's on fire.
Toward the end, these submarines happen, and I'm sure that they're a reference to something.
That's a
Possibly.
reference to a scrap Sonic Adventure 2 concept where the submarine would be exploding or something. I don't know.
Wait, what? Oh yeah, that is a scrapped
Yeah.
concept. I forgot about that.
You see, I can pull obscure shit out of my ass too, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, but only about SA2. Shut up, nerd.
Okay.
I was thinking more along the lines that this might be a concept of something in a 2D game, because I think I vaguely remember a level with some kind of submarine thing floating around in it.
Tails Adventure where Tails is in the submarine at points.
Yeah,
That's-
like Tails
No, I
destroys
think
the
it's
submarine.
Knuckles Chaotix.
Oh, you're right,
Marine
it might.
Marine Madness.
Yeah, there's
you're right.
some marines in the dock you can jump on.
Yeah, Marine Madness.
Like, I don't think you ever went inside the submarines, but they were...
No, you just rode on top of it and it sunk because Knuckles weighs a fucking ton.
Yeah, so... you don't actually have to go inside the submarines, by the way.
No, I usually skip them. Going in for like 10 rings at most is not worth
There's
it.
an achievement for a hidden one. Do you guys know where that's at?
No.
Nope.
No, because
I
it's
still
hidden.
haven't found it.
Oh, fuck this boss, for the record.
Obviously, dipshit.
Now, there's something that you got to know about the shields in Sonic Mania, and this was true of Sonic 3 and Knuckles as well. They bounce projectiles off, but only the elemental shields. The normal shield will not do this for you.
Wait, the laser does it?
No, not the
regular shield's a
lasers,
bitch.
but the
The ball
pellets.
projectiles.
Oh,
The
yeah,
pellets
yeah,
that the
yeah.
boss will shoot at you from these
Like
things
from
in
here.
particular. Yeah. So you don't have to worry about getting shot when you've got the fire shield.
Like, Eggman rises up and sees a sea of flames like, Jesus Christ!
This wasn't in the brochure!
I got 2 game overs when playing this game. The first one was here. And, well, actually, I got 2 game overs in 2 different spots, I should say. This is
Yeah,
where the first one happened.
I'll give you that one. There's also a beginner's trap that seems specifically targeted to people who've played Oil Ocean before. If you try to cheese it by hiding underneath the platform,
They do crush you.
yeah, they'll crush you
Ah.
when the boss drags it under. You have to play it legitimately this time.
Also, if you hide on, even if you're hiding in between them, the boss will appear directly under you and you'll get hit as well.
I would say I never gamed over, but that was probably the hardest boss in the game.
Also one of the most interesting, if I think.
I would say.
No, I think the Titanic Monarch boss is harder than that, personally.
It's
I-
a pretty.
well-
I always miss that jump.
Fuck Ted. I will be honest. The Oil Ocean Act 2 boss was the only boss I died multiple times to. I think there was 2 other bosses I may have died twice just because I went into one with no rings. But as a whole, the bosses in this game are kind of a joke.
The Titanic Monarch boss took me forever to beat. And that's
Okay.
mostly because a lot of the stuff about it is unclear, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
Also, it de-supers you when you go into it.
Well,
What the
I didn't
fuck?
have any of this. I had like 3 Chaos Emeralds, so that wasn't an issue for me.
Well, what I'm saying is that you're kind of put in a situation where it's a little harder to cheese it.
You see, I'm not going to actually get mad at you for going super this time, because the Lava Reef remix I don't actually like very much.
Oh, okay, Ted. So when it suits you, we can do it. Okay.
Speaking of Lava Reef remixing, though, they added stuff from yet another level that's not in this game, but it's one that you probably wouldn't expect. These wooden constructs and, the mine fences and all of that are from the Sonic 3 multiplayer level Endless Mine.
Yep. That's so cool.
But it took me like 3 playthroughs through the level to know that that's what they were doing with it, because I never play Sonic 3's multiplayer. It's terrible. Why did they reference it?
But the competition mode's back, Lewis. You can play it now. You can play
Yeah, but it's
competition mode.
based on Sonic 2's multiplayer, which was significantly better, even though it has.
I disagree with that, good sir. I think the Sonic 3 multiplayer, it was designed to actually play correctly. Sonic 2 one, it handles like shit, and I don't care for it.
The Sonic 2 one only handles like shit because of system limitations, though. The actual mode...
Super my ass.
The actual mode that Sonic 2 had going was fine. It was more like the system limitations made it difficult to work with. They could only get 4 levels working in it, and on top of that, like, there was massive slowdown everywhere.
And you know what, to go off something about that in regards to a point I want to bring up about the game as a whole, which you've kind of touched upon, and it says the competition mode is back. They purposely made it look like Sonic 2, so it looks like ass when you
Yeah.
play. But again, there's something that we brought upon. I think this game, like, I can't remember if I said it in part 1 or not, but I kind of view Mania as a fan game, a very well done fan game. This is one of my, I think this is one of the most fun games that I've played in the last few years. But everything about this game just feels like they're trying to make like a new 3 and K. And like one thing that I think makes this game lose points for me is it doesn't have its own identity. It's trying too hard to be like 3 and K, where it does things like where, say, if a Sonic platformer had been released on like the Saturn. I mean, obviously the remix levels weren't their ideas or Sega's doing, but some of the things just feel like a step back. For me, one of the big things is the fact that they go back to the Sonic 1 sprite for two reasons. One, because, obviously at this point they had the Sonic 3 sprite, which just personally I think that looks better. But again, say if a Sonic game on the Saturn had come out, they wouldn't have gone back a few games for your old design. It's things like that where it feels like they're doing it because they're fans rather than, I think, honestly thinking what would the original team have done for a new game.
The decision to go back to a Sonic 1, Sonic 2 style sprite is very obviously a fan game maker's priority, because that's on Sonic Retro in particular. That's a thing that you see in a lot of projects where they want to mix the Sonic 2, Sonic 1 sprite with some Sonic CD animations. The spinning thing that happens when you bounce off a spring.
Yeah, Sonic CD.
In like every fan hack that's ever been made, because they love that animation to death. So
I'm willing to bet that Sonic, the way Sonic Mania played itself was, I'm willing to bet was mostly a Sonic team decision. Because at this point, I think I wanted to see if they can trust Christian Whitehead, Simon Tomley, and Padoga West.
And clearly they can, so let them do what they want now.
So that said, though, I mean, it goes without saying, I really want the next game. I don't want to say it better have, because I don't want to make it sound like I'm entitled, but the next game needs to be pretty much all original.
I think
Yes.
It would piss me severely off if they bring back stages in a Sonic Mania.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I understand why Mania is the way it is, and it is a great game, make no mistake.
Yep, I agree.
But it is very much safe because I think, for one reason or another, Sonic Team wanted to test these guys.
yeah.
Despite the fact that they did really good with the Sonic 1 and 2 ports.
Except that you can't control them with a freaking controller, so meh.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean that's its own thing. But
Well, I mean, Johnny, going off from that, you could argue, well, aside from Hidden Palace, which I think in the past I talked about how I don't really love that level, this is the first time they're really doing original level design. As
Yeah.
opposed to just so I mean I can understand again Sega being like, take these levels which you kind of had the basis for already, but
Yeah.
I agree with Ted. I think that if there's a Mania 2, which again, as Ryan said, it most likely will be, I think it kind of needs to be 100% original. I mean, again, I'm not saying as like it better be. I think that in terms of in terms of being marketable, we don't want to have so many games in Sonic just keep rehashing old levels. It kind of gets redundant, and I think to a certain extent diminishes the brand if they rely so heavily on just old levels again and again and again.
Because like in the 2D games, Sonic games were very unlike Mario in the respect that they did not stick to a specific handful of themes. They were a specific handful of enemies. Every enemy in every zone was at least 50% original, and the 50% original ones were just the first ones, because Emerald Hill is very obviously Green Hill.
But
if
with
the next
better
Sonic game has
music.
Green Hill in it, I'm gonna fucking flip.
Well, again, Johnny,
John, the next Sonic game is going to have Green Hill Zone in it.
two
Sonic
games
Forces.
coming out, Johnny. 3 games coming out this year. Mania, Forces, and Runner's Adventure, everyone's favorite game, is going to have Green Hill in it. Like, we don't need Green Hill again.
Yeah, after Forces, no Green. I don't want to see any Green Hill for at least 10 to 15 years.
No, ever. We've had enough games with Green Hill in it.
Or at
No
least
more.
not in the main game. Like, I'm thinking, you're going to, Sonic Adventure 2.
Maybe for a party game, maybe.
Like, but the thing is that the Green Hill as an unlockable in Sonic Adventure 2, I think was actually a neat callback, because that game was an anniversary title, and it's just like, okay, if you work hard enough, here's Green Hill in a reimagined way, in a way that we've never seen before in 3D.
Aside from the fact it's really fucking terrible, I agree with Ted.
Well,
Like-
it's not,
like,
again, it's not a great level, but it's a more
The
of a reward,
idea
I
in and
guess
of itself.
Yeah.
But again, like Johnny, we really never need to see Green Hill. Although I'm sure Sega will just pull, like, we'll get Neo Green Hill 2 or like Turquoise Green Hill or some such shit.
Forest Incline Zone.
Honestly, I think they missed a trick at the beginning of this game, where it would have made more sense considering the opening if the level were actually Angel Island Zone.
Yep. Which again, like what Lewis said about most of the zones being hunched on a level. The thing I love about Sonic 3 is you start on a kind of typical greenish level, but then it gets set on fire like a minute into it. I always saw it as Sonic Team's way of saying, of kind of like, you know, expect the unexpected in this game. Which, unfortunately, to a certain extent, Mania doesn't do, because again, it kind of tries to play it too close to 3 and K. And again, I'm sure people in the comments are gonna say that I hate this game. Like, this game's great. I would say this game is a solid 8 out of 10. It's borderline great. It's a really fucking good game. It just, for me, it plays it a bit too straight, and I think some of the bosses and some of the later level design just gets kind of tedious to me. But I would happily play this game over and over and over again.
Yeah, on the same, like, I'm. It's kind of weird. You sound more negative than I have throughout most of the commentary. I don't hate the game either. Part of it is just, you know, like, I'm not gonna...
You didn't grow up with the original.
Well, sort of. It's I kind of did, but instead of these games being like full adventures to me, these were the weird games on the Sonic Mega Collection. That's what I thought about them growing up. And it was kind of weird for me when I went on the internet and I was like, oh, I love Sonic, and people were like, oh, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, this is the best. And I'm like, Sonic 3 and oh, the Mega Collection? Really? That was kind of my mindset when I was playing these games growing up. It was just like, okay, these are neat, but I'll go back and play Adventure 2 now, I thought.
Because you're younger than all of us,
yeah.
So it makes sense.
Ted, I just want to say, I actually think that this game is perfect and flawless. I'm just saying this shit to try and take some of the heat off you in the comments, man. I'm taking a bullet for you.
Oh,
appreciate
okay,
this.
thank you.
This game is the greatest thing it ever made.
Bullet for us, you re-record Pikmin 2.
Oh, okay.
Real talk.
No.
I actually don't have anything against, and I don't think anyone should have anything against, people who grew up with the adventure games and are more enthusiastic about them or less enthusiastic about a game like this.
That's me. I prefer modern. I prefer, I grew up with the classics. I played Sonic 1, 2, and 3 when they were released. I am more of a modern. I prefer the adventure games. Well, I prefer Adventure 1. I don't know, Adventure 2 is a piece of shit. But like, I greatly prefer the 3D games over the classics. But even I would say, this game is an amazing love letter. It's just a shame that it looks like the next modern game is going to be a steaming pile of shit again.
You see, I think what kind of made it feel weird for me is that we're getting to the point where Sonic Adventure is 19 years old now. Sonic Adventure 2
yeah,
is
it's turning 20 next year.
Yeah, and
Jesus Christ.
We're still kind of just doing the classic stuff. Like, I mean, say what you want. Sonic 4 is not a very good game. I'll just say it right there.
Fuck you, Ted! I took a bullet for you, Ted! And that's what you repay me?!
But Sonic 4 Episode 1 came out, 2009? So that's, almost 8 years, and there's been a lot of Genesis callbacks, like the Sonic 4 is the biggest example, but Sonic Lost World has a lot of Genesis aesthetic, Sonic Forces, and this, and it's like...
Generations,
anything that came out after 1996 really hasn't been... Well, unless if you're Unleashed, because they want to bring back that gameplay style, but it feels like a lot of...
for, the most love that the Adventure era has gotten has been in Sonic Generations, yeah.
Yeah, even if Sonic Mania had, say, Sonic Advance callbacks somehow, I don't know, I think I would feel a little bit less left out. And I get that that's just a personal thing. And also, what's really weird is that they have 5 heavies, but only 4 original zones for them. So they just throw one in Lava Reef.
Sonic Advance doesn't have too much to call back to when I think about it.
They could do Metal Knuckles. They could do a music remix.
Also, bye, Jimmy.
Well, yeah, I want to say, two things about this boss. I mean, obviously, that's a callback too. Is it Polygon Jim? I believe. Yeah. Was he the... Also, one thing, I know Lewis destroyed it as Metal Sonic. This might be my least favorite boss in the game.
Oh, it's obnoxious.
Fucking hate this boss.
They finally managed to do it. They made a more difficult boss timing challenge than Big Arm.
Big Arms. I know that boss is so fucking awkward to play. I mean, it's a very nice callback to. Well, I didn't personally know him or know of him. He was a much beloved, I believe, member of the modern community, which is of course where most of these guys came from. So I think it's a very nice tribute. I just wish it was maybe part of a better boss fight. But,
maybe they all secretly hated Jimmy.
What? That's dark, dude. What the fuck?
It's not like Heavy Rider is impossible or broken. It's just awkward.
It's just I think the worst boss in the game. just because of how awful it is to
I'll
hit.
put the frickin' giant worm thing from Sky Chase Mirage
That's
Saloon
tedious. I would say
behind it,
that boss is tedious to play, but this one actively like. I got hit so many times trying to attack him, and I guess I'm sure people would just say hashtag get good to me.
Oh, because
I had
if
such trouble.
something, you can't just make a complaint. You just have to be better.
At the same time, though, I thought that once I got the timing for Heavy Rider down, I was better at it than I ever got at the one in Mirage Saloon. So,
of course, Ted. The thing about that though is you can't ever criticize classics on it because that the whole franchise is. Of course, perfection. So, would you ever to even hint something was less than stellar? Why, good sir, you can go fuck yourself.
Okay.
More like you can never criticize the old games because it's widely considered by literally everyone on the planet that Classic Sonic was never good.
That's why Sonic 4 is the best game ever made.
we'll talk more about that next part.